A few minutes since I was at the trial. I went to Diddy's trial every day. I was in the main courtroom. Calvin and I recovered the case on the weekends every Sunday night, just as we're doing now. There's a couple of things I just wanted to go over to clear the air for those who might be interested. One of the big rumors about Sean Diddy Combs is that he was homosexual. In court, it came out that he wasn't. So just for the record, I'm going over what happened, what came out in court that he wasn't. There was no activity of the sort. Another big rumor that was in court or before court is that there were drugs being put into people's drinks, and some people even said there were drugs in the baby oil. It came out in court that that was not the case. No drugs in the baby oil. Calvin, why do you think that we have so many lies being spread through the media? Not to say bad things didn't happen, but why are people adding all these whistles and bells?
Man, because you know how the general public is. They want to believe the Illuminati stuff. It's more sexy to say that Diddy was gay and there were drugs being slipped in the baby oil and drugs being slipped in the drinks. People who are not involved in those lifestyles or those circles, a lot of them believe that stuff that goes on, right? And a lot of people want to believe the worst about folks. And then I'm going to touch on something else, especially when somebody of color gets to a certain level. It can never be on their ability or their shrewdness. It always has to be, he got there because of the Illuminati. He got there because he did this and them people did that. And so people love to believe the worst in folks when they were raised to certain limits and levels. And I try to explain to people, we grew up in hip hop, right? You're a New York guy. I grew up in hip hop listening to Mr. Combs. I watched his rise. I understand who he's connected to, and I understand music, right? So when you talk about Mr. Combs is connected to people like Andre Harrell, who ran Motown Records, who was responsible for Jodeci, Mary J. Blige, who actually played a part in the Crush Groove movie, believe it or not. Andre Harrell was in Crush Groove. Like, people got to understand, like, he was involved in that project in some shape, form, or fashion. So he's been in the music industry a long time, and Mr. Combs had ties to him. Mr. Combs had ties to Clive Davis, who, with his Bad Boy Records imprint. Mr. Combs had ties to a guy named Clarence Avant, who they call the Godfather of Soul. And so Mr. Combs worked a lot of relationships. He worked a lot of different situations to be able to get to where he's at. And so in our community, sometimes when a person gets to that level, we always want to believe that they got there by doing something nefarious. And I'm not saying that Mr. Combs didn't do anything nefarious along the way, but he played the game and he understood the game, and he played himself into a position to where he ended up being a billionaire. And so at the end of the day, whether you like Mr. Combs or not, you got to give him the credit for doing that.
I mean, they even came out with videos about Meek Mill trying to say that was his voice being with Diddy. It was just terrible.
Oh man,
right?
It was sick, man. It was sick, and I was like, man, that's some crazy stuff. And then to have that stuff come out, and then as a person, sometimes you have nothing that you can do about it. And I think with that being said, there's a lot of proclivities that people get involved in when you get to that level sometimes. And so I think that there's a lot of stuff you don't know about a lot of people, but to throw some of these rumors around, it wasn't right, man. It was straight up diabolical at times, and they were able to come up with these fake videos, and oh my God, we're not going to get into Jaguar Wright and some of the craziness that she was saying. And I just go like, wow, man, these folks are willing to do and say anything.
All right. Mashona says, Calvin, do you believe anything that Keefe D is supposedly say about Diddy? What are your thoughts on the lady that said